Bhante, how are you? Can hear you. Okay.
You hear me okay, Mr.
Yeah,
Venerable?
yeah.
So the chair, I'm enjoying the chair that you got offered. And Mate is enjoying the other one, my old hand-me-down chair.
Oh, that's good, Bhante.
That's nice. The color is very nice, right? It's burgundy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Captain Chair.
sadhu, sadhu, Bhante. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu. Priyani Nona, කොහොමද?
හොඳයි. හරි සන්තෝසයි පුටුව ගැන. අපි ආපහු එනවා Bhante. Coming again for you in the spring.
Okay, friends. So we'll go ahead and begin with the reciting Namo Tassa and the three refuges for those who'd like to join. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dhammang saranang gacchami, Sanghang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Dutiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Buddhang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Dhammang saranang gacchami, Tatiyampi Sanghang saranang gacchami. So welcome, friends, to this Wednesday evening Dhamma discussion and meditation practice. So I hope you're all able to review or read the attachment that I sent out, the one we've been using for more than the last 4 weeks or so, on the 7 purifications. So this week, I hope you're able to scroll down and not get confused with that long, that article. And scrolling down to page 32 And that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to use the share screen and display that article. I don't have okay. So now last week we had gone over the 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 stages of the knowledge and vision and of the way. And we got up to the conformity knowledge. That means, we're going to go through this for those who may not have read that. It's a little bit complicated, so if you haven't been joining in the last sessions, you might be a little bit over your head, but we'll try to review a little bit. So last week we got up to the conformity, what's called conformity knowledge. Now this is in a very advanced stage of Vipassana meditation, and it assumes that a person has already been practicing the meditation for quite some time and going through the prior stages of purification, of gaining concentration, overcoming doubts, contemplating paticca samuppada, understanding what is the path and what is not the path. That means just getting stuck in concentration and enjoying the bliss and happiness of concentration rather than going on to develop moment-to-moment awareness and the insights or the Vipassana meditation stages. And when that is built up, you come to that the Sankhara Upekkha Jnana, the knowledge of equanimity, which basically means attaining the fourth jhana level of what is called Vipassana jhana, the fourth Vipassana jhana, where you have purified equanimity and mindfulness, which is the ultimate or purest state in which you can then clearly see the functioning of the mind at its sort of atomic level. And one has already developed insight into anicca, dukkha, and anatta, and contemplated no self, how the sense of I or me or mine in our consciousness is basically just a deeply ingrained illusion that, some substantial permanent kind of me or I or self is basically an illusion. It exists only on a relative level, but by disassociating with it, not feeding it, the consciousness becomes purified, and that sense of the I sort of disappears or dissolves into that greater sort of infinite awareness, or the oceanic awareness of what we call, pure awareness. So then the mind conforms, what is called conformity. The mind conforms to the insights that we've already been gaining through our previous practice, the previous 8 types of knowledge, and conforming to the 37 requisites of enlightenment. And we haven't talked about those yet, but I want to go over them now. The 37 requisites of enlightenment are basically all the different lists of important Dhamma qualities that we've been studying, that make the foundation of the Buddhist teaching. So basically, if you want to keep count, there's the 4 foundations of mindfulness. So a person would have already been practicing the 4 foundations of mindfulness. That means mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of feelings, mindfulness of the mental states and mindfulness of the Dhamma itself, which is the Four Noble Truths. So it means one would have already been contemplating them over and over and over again and been basically convinced of them. And then the four types of right effort. That means the effort to abandon negative states of mind and the effort to prevent them from coming into your mind, the effort to cultivate wholesome states we don't have yet, and to bring those wholesome states to perfection. And then there's so that's 8 of the 37 factors of enlightenment. Now, a lot of these are kind of repetitive, overlapping. And there's the 4 bases of mental power called iddhipada. And those are chanda, or desire, which means the desire to meditate, the desire to gain enlightenment. So it's that aspiration to continually making progress on the path, and knowing the purpose of the path is to totally overcome greed, hatred, and delusion. So those 4 bases of mental power. And then the chitta, the 4th one of those, the second one is the chitta, clarity and concentration. So this is also already meaning one would have been practicing mindfulness and concentration, gaining up to ideally the 1st jhana, or even the 3rd or 4th, up to the 4th jhana, or the vipassana jhana that I mentioned earlier. And then there's a vimamsa, which is investigation. So this is similar to already the Dhamma Vichaya, or the investigation of Dhamma, which is one of the 7 factors of enlightenment. That is also one of these lists. And then the 4th of those iddhipadas is the right effort again. So again, these are overlapping. So we've gone over 12 of those 37. Then there's the 5 spiritual faculties, which are faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. And then the 5 spiritual powers, which are the same as the 5 spiritual faculties. But what distinguishes them as 5 spiritual powers is one would have attained, in my view, the way I have understood it or see it, is that those 5 spiritual faculties are the beginning stages to get one on the track to attain sotapanna. Once you've attained sotapanna, then those 5 spiritual powers, they now become power, because you don't have to practice them so much anymore. They've already become part of your mind. And they power you through the other 3 stages of enlightenment. Then there's the 7 factors of enlightenment. We've already gone over these before. Mindfulness, investigation of Dhamma, energy, joy, tranquility, and leading up to equanimity. And then there's the eightfold path. So I'm not going to go over all these, because we should have been knowing them already by now, where you can read about them. So all of these together form the 37 factors of enlightenment. And these basically form the essence of the whole of the Buddhist teaching about developing the mind. But again, a lot of those are overlapping. overlap. Now, this brings us to the purification by knowledge and vision. So this is the seventh of the purifications. And that first purification is actually the attainment of stream entry, because already that conformity knowledge, the next stage after conformity knowledge is the path of stream entry, and then the path of the once returner, and the path of the non-returner. So those four are the purification by knowledge and vision, and the path of the Arahant, or complete liberation. So each of those two stages has two types of insight. The knowledge of the path knowledge, and then there's the knowledge of fruition knowledge and knowledge of reviewing. Now, I know this sounds very complicated, and it kind of is for somebody who hasn't already been practicing quite a lot and has a lot of understanding about these things that we've already been covering for the last month, and which I've been talking about several times over again in the last few years. It's really the focus. That's why I call this place the Lion of Wisdom, because it refers to the deepest levels of wisdom developed through meditation. So the conformity knowledge leads to what is called a change of lineage. And the attainment of stream entry. With this path knowledge of stream entry, there's also the simultaneous realization of the Four Noble Truths. And it destroys the 3 of the 10 fetters. So these 4 stages of enlightenment actually attained through this knowledge and vision. The first 3 are the personality belief, again, believing that the sense of your I or self is somehow your permanent soul, or is some unchanging entity, or some permanent entity. So we've already understood that through our practices. It's an illusion. And then any doubts that you had about it are removed. An attachment to rites and rituals. So these 3, what are called lower fetters, are destroyed at the path of stream entry. And again, there's the realization of the Four Noble Truths. So one would understand the truth of suffering. One would have abandoned the origin of suffering and realized Nibbana, because in that moment of stream entry, you have a crystal clear glimpse of the unconditioned mind, of the dissolution of the self-consciousness, in which all the truths of suffering is crystallized in that, because you see the whole mass of suffering is basically created through illusion and clinging to the sense of I, me, and mine that's been caught us up in the web of karma and unskillful actions, and caught us in the web of suffering. And understanding that the way out is the Noble Eightfold Path. So those 4 Noble Truths is really the hallmark of attaining stream entry. People ask, wondering if they've attained stream entry. Well, if you haven't fully realized those 4 Noble Truths and gone beyond any doubt whatsoever about it, you haven't attained the stream entry, according to this system, Theravada system. So the path of the stream entry, the fruition of stream entry, it is said that destroys enough of your accumulated karma that you would be reborn at the most 7 more times. So again, this comes back to the idea that our minds have been revolving through the rounds of birth and death, powered by ignorance, accumulating karma, since beginningless time. That means literally thousands, if not millions of lifetimes, accumulating karma. And with the attainment of stream entry, well, if one doesn't attain stream entry, then the mind could continue to revolve through the rounds of birth and death for even thousands or, indefinitely, thousands or more lifetimes, being born according to one's karma. But with the attainment of stream entry, you're guaranteed at the most just 7 more rebirths. So that's like a drop in the bucket. That means you've gone from the mercy of indefinite rebirths according to the karma to whittling it down to just 7 more, and that's only if you were negligent. So that's attainment of stream entry is considered to be, the greatest attainment. And it destroys those 3 fetters that I mentioned. Again, the sound, if you haven't heard these things before, it might sound like a bunch of hocus pocus to some people, but this is why it's very deep, the Theravada tradition and the path of Vipassana, and these knowledges are only found within really the Vipassana system. And one would not be reborn in the lower realms. So, but one would go on practicing in the same way again and again until one would realize the path of the once returner, in which the fetters of greed and hatred are what are called attenuated. That means, greed and hatred basically are what are feeding, greed, hatred, and delusion are what are feeding the mind, going through the rounds of birth and death, feeding that fuel. And it's the greed and sense desire and hatred, greed and hatred, which keeps us, accumulating karma. So that greed and hatred is like greatly reduced at the stage of the once returner. There's no exact amount that's left, but greed and hatred are greatly reduced. Let's take a ballpark figure of 90%. You'd only experience greed or anger or hatred if your buttons were really, really pushed, or maybe experienced them in dreams. But in ordinary life, it would take a great deal to arouse any type of sensual desire in the mind, or anger or hatred. That's and it said with this realizing the stage of the once return, that's only enough karma to be reborn 1 more time. So you go from infinite rebirths to 7 maximum rebirths with the Sotapanna. Then just to 1 more rebirth with the attainment of the once returner. And that means rebirth into the human realm. And then when you attain the 3rd stage is the total remaining 10% of greed and hatred or are removed from the mind, and one attains the state of the never returner, that you would never come back to the earth plane consciousness or the earth world, human world, but attain a nibbana from that state. Because, the birth in the human realm is due to having, a mix of greed and hatred. Anyway, I know that sounds complicated for a lot of people, or maybe too much, but anyway, just, try to bear with it a little bit. And then finally, with the Arhat level, one attains the 5 lower fetters, and they're here listed. So I mentioned there are 10 fetters that bind the mind to the wheel of birth and death. So the 5 lower fetters are reduced by the time you've gone through Sotapanna, once returning, never returning. And to attain arhatship, you have to remove these last 5 that you can read there. I'm not going to go over them. You can read them. And that's, there's by attaining arhatship, one transcends the whole rounds of birth and death. And it is said that depending on the predominant factor, there's called the triple gateway to liberation, that one could take either anicca, dukkha, or anatta, that means impermanence, suffering, or no self, as the kind of one's principal theme for developing insight. That means by developing that insight into the impermanence of the 5 aggregates, one could attain those stages through that perception of impermanence. Or if one used suffering, seeing the suffering inherent in the 5 aggregates as one's principal contemplation, that can also allow the mind to go through those stages and attain the Sotapanna and so on. And then the no self, that's the one that I use myself. From the very beginning, I was attracted to the contemplation of no self, or anatta. And one can then attain those stages of liberation using the signless liberation insight. So, and that would depend on one's spiritual sort of attracted, the way the mind is attracted. You can be either attracted to contemplating impermanence, suffering, or no self. But normally you would understand all of them together, because when you understand impermanence, you will also understand the suffering inherent in impermanent things, and how there's no self that's really controlling anything. Okay, now I wanted to go over these similes because these similes are very nice. Now, if all of that, what I've just been talking about or what you've been reading is confusing, these similes are very nice. So I would encourage you to read these similes that illustrate how conformity and change of lineage occur with different objects. So suppose a person wants to leap across a broad flowing stream, and he wants to, establish themselves on the opposite bank. And so let's say there's a Tarzan vine hanging down from a tree on this bank, and he sees that vine, and so he has the idea to run fast, and as he reaches the bank, to leap and grab that rope fastened to the branch of the tree on that near bank. And the weight of the body grabbing that rope would cause it to go out towards the middle of the stream and towards the opposite bank. If you can visualize that. Maybe some of you never, played Tarzan when you were a kid. Too bad, but I'm sorry. But anyway, you might have seen those movies, right? Go watch a Tarzan movie. And when it arrived above the opposite bank, that person would let go of the rope and fall on the opposite bank. Because if you cling on to the rope and you're swinging towards the opposite bank and you get over the bank, but you don't let go of the rope is going to swing back to the other side that you left. So you have to let go of that rope so the body drops down to the firm ground on the opposite bank. So as the body is swinging over the river, that's conformity knowledge. You've left the further bank. So with that faith, you've jumped off the near bank, grabbed the hold of the rope, the weight of the momentum of the body weight swings the rope over to the other side. So that's conformity knowledge. And then when you let go and you land on the other bank, that's called change of lineage. And that means you've changed the banks that you were on. Before you were on the bank of suffering, now you're on the bank of liberation. So it's called change of lineage. And then you stagger it first and then steady yourself. So this is when you're standing on the path. You've reached the path of the stream winner. So you can read that. And the far bank, symbolizes the state of liberation, the unconditioned nibbana. Now there's another simile of the fruit bat. Of course, fruit bats, a lot of people may not know what a fruit bat is, but they like to eat fruit. So this fruit bat landed on a tree with 5 branches. I think I'll find some flowers or fruits here. And so the bird investigates one branch but saw no flowers or fruit worth taking. That means the 5 aggregates. So he jumps onto all 5 branches, the 5 aggregates, investigates the body but finds nothing there of value, investigates feeling, perception, volition, and consciousness, but saw nothing permanent, nothing stable. So they saw this tree is barren. There's nothing worth taking here because grabbing any of it just will not satisfy your thirst. They're barren. So they lost interest in the tree and climbing up on the straight branch, poking their head out through the gap in the foliage and looking upwards, and then flying into the air and lighting on another tree. So that's like the conformity knowledge is the bird leaving that tree, flying, and then landing on the other tree is the change of lineage. And one can read these other similes. I'm going to let you read them because you really should read them. It really helps to cement these sort of illustrative little similes in the mind. It's more than, there's the saying, right? A picture is worth 1,000 words. So if you couldn't understand all those words I was saying, if you can visualize these similes, then maybe it might help you at least get some kind of understanding of what they're like. So all of these similes and so on are coming from the Visuddhimagga. So I'm reading here now that's why it was said, when a person knows and sees this way, the heart retreats, retracts, and recoils from the 3 kinds of becoming, the 4 kinds of generation, the 5 kinds of destiny, the 7 stages of consciousness, the 9 abodes of being. The heart no longer goes out to them. Just as water drops retreat, retract, and recoil on a lotus leaf that slopes a little, that runs off them, all of which should be understood in the way already stated. So a lot of this, most of this that I was reading, you can see here, it's taken from chapter 21, the purification by knowledge and vision in the Visuddhimagga. And I've given these sources down below of where I got a lot of this knowledge from. Okay, friends, so that's what I wanted to go over as being the seventh stage of purification by knowledge and vision, which means going through those 4 stages of enlightenment. It could take up to 7 lifetimes of practice to go through, although they could be all gone through in one lifetime. And that all depends on having developed those 37 factors of enlightenment. So I think I'm going to stop here and see if there's any questions. I know that was quite a lot to go through, but I just wanted to encourage you to go back and read that on your own, because it's really, that's part of the right understanding. That's part of the intellectual understanding. And when you meditate, you can reflect on a lot of these things, and then that helps you to develop that deeper level of understanding through contemplation. And then finally, those the meditation levels of meditation, which we were talking about, just before this, as the stages of liberation. Okay, so I'm going to. Did I stop sharing? I guess I did. Okay. So now I want to see if anybody might have any questions. I don't see any questions in the chat box, but I do see a golden hand arose. So Mudita, do you have a question?
Yeah, Bhante, my question was about like the difference between the Magga and the Phala. And like, so the moment between them, that moment is the glimpse of Nibbana moment, right? I was just wondering, is it possible for someone to have that glimpse and not know they had it since it's only a moment, or does someone always know? And I also had a second question, if I may. So like, is like the
Well,
Dhamma...
let me answer the first one first, so I
Okay,
don't
yeah,
forget it. Okay.
sorry.
Okay, so, there's a little analogy. These are difficult things to try to explain in words, but like the glimpse of attaining the path would be like, let's say you enter a dark room and you can't see anything and you're stumbling around, but all of a sudden there's a flash of lightning. And that flash of lightning only lasted for 1 or 2 seconds. But in that 1 or 2 seconds, you could see, wow, there's a lot of stuff in this room. But then it's closed. The lightning vanishes and it gets dark again. But now you remember it. You don't remember maybe in all the details, but you remember it. It was, you remember that there's stuff in that room. Before maybe you thought there was nothing in the room. And so that glimpse of Nibbana is like that. The mind opens up like a camera lens and experiences state of the unconditioned, where the ego has been totally transcended. And that is like that path moment. And that, destroys those 3 fetters. And then the fruition, now this is where it gets a little complicated, because there's differences of opinions on that. Some traditions saying that there's the fruition immediately follows the path moment, but there's other traditions that said no, that fruition can come later on. And I'm not going to get into arguments about that, because but it's basically, that path moment is Well, let's use the example of that dark room, of going into the dark room. So that first glimpse of the flash of lightning, help you to see something, but but then you get it some more and more until it becomes fully etched in your mind, and you understand more about the layout of the room. Maybe with each little flash of lightning, you see there's this type of furniture on the left side, this type of stuff on the right side, and so on. So it helps you to go through there. I don't even know if that's a good example. But anyway, you would definitely know it if you attain stream entry. If you have doubts, that means you haven't done it. That moment of stream entry is so powerful, just like the powerful that lighting up that dark room, the doubts that it was empty. Somebody might have told you, hey, there's nothing in that room, just go in there. Open the door and run. So you open the door and you ran, you banged your shin. Immediately, you'll go, oh my gosh, no, there's stuff in this room. And then you got the flash of lightning. And then you saw, oh yeah, this room is full of junk. And so you're more careful when you go in there. And so the more you go in the room and feel around, the more you can go walk in there more easily and not keep banging your shins or banging your forehead and things like that. So I don't know if that helps to answer your question or not, but
Yeah, it helps, Bhante. Thank you. And the second question I had was like there are concepts of like the Dhammanusari and the Saddhanusari. Like, are those like even Magga moments for before we become a stream enterer, or?
yes, those could be like one would practice like sadhunasari, somebody who's his primary thing is faith, and others might be the prominent factor is of concentration or the Dhamma, using the Dhammanusari. But there's a lot of overlap with those, and so one uses that to attain, at least the stage of the stream entry. Again, these things are, it's not that easy to explain them perfectly well because English language is not made to easily explain them. But roughly, these are things to give us a kind of an idea, a guideline of the different things that are affecting our mind and how the mind is conditioned. Samir, do you have a question?
Hi, Bhante. Can you talk a bit about the fetter of rites and rituals? Does it still apply to most of us? I imagine most of us aren't performing rites and rituals.
Well,
Is there a
it
modern meaning
depends.
of that?
Rites and rituals, I mean, you have to understand the background of where the Buddha was living and teaching. He was living in that Hindu-dominated culture where belief in rites and rituals, like bathing in the holy water, bathing in the Ganges River, could clean away all of your karma. But the Buddha said, no amount of bathing in any kind of river is going to purify your karma. Only, through the mind, through the practice of Dhamma, is going to do that. So if you believe just by dunking yourself in the Ganges River several times is going to wash away one lifetime of karma, just that alone, without practicing, the other aspects of the Dhamma, that's a rite and a ritual. Or circumambulating a holy mountain, or praying to certain trees. there's a lot of rites and rituals. So it doesn't necessarily mean bowing to the Buddha, as long as you bow to the Buddha, knowing that that bowing is not going to lead you to enlightenment, but it can help you gain faith to actually practice the meditation, which could lead to the enlightenment. So it's basically the idea that rites and rituals by themselves can lead to wiping away your past lifetimes of karma. And we find you can read these, like some traditions, circumambulating the holy mountain 13 times guarantees you, some kind of enlightenment. So this is the meaning of it. It doesn't mean that rites and rituals are not useful, as long as we do them with right understanding. Like, offering flowers to a Buddha, incense. We know that, that's not going to bring you enlightenment, but it can help you to gain faith and help you to want to study more and practice more. And so that is also the understanding of what is the path and not the path. Understanding what is not the path is just performing rites and rituals, thinking that's the way to Nibbana, as opposed to the path of developing mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom. Does that help clear anything up, Samir?
Yeah, I think it's helpful, but I'm thinking about, that sounds like it's very culture specific. I grew up in
Yeah.
India, and there's a lot of focus on rites and rituals.
Yeah.
But in the US, there really isn't that much at all. And so does that mean that it's not really a fetter for people that don't believe in the rites and rituals to begin with, as a function of their
Well, if
upbringing?
you don't believe in rites and rituals, then you're that better off. You don't have to work through that. Let's put it that way. But we have the rites and rituals about being attached to wanting to, make money and, live. And we have our right ritual might be going to Las Vegas for some people, or, some other sort of attachments. Some people say playing guitar is my meditation. That'll lead me to Nibbana. Things like that. So, rites and rituals can mean different things to different people. But the main takeaway is that wisdom comes through developing the powers of faith, energy, mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom, the 5 spiritual faculties, the 7 factors of enlightenment, those 37 factors of enlightenment. That's why they call them factors of enlightenment. Okay. So, any other questions? Again, I know all of this is very, deep, and that's why it takes a lot of study to overcome doubts and especially the meditation, when you start to develop the deeper levels of concentration and mindfulness and actually see how the mind starts to transform, has to develop that conformity knowledge, conforming to the truth, overcoming doubts and so on. And that would affect the way that you live and think too. Then that is how we see that, how it has the effects in our life. Okay? Okay, friends, I think we'll then, if there's no other questions, we will take a few minutes break and then come back to get grounded in the body and then go on from there. Okay? See you back in a few minutes. Okay, friends? So try to stand straight. Just relax your shoulders and arms at the sides. Just gently close your eyes. Just focus on your feet pressing the ground. Or feel the height and weight of the body over the feet. Just mentally remind yourself now the body is standing. Just repeat the word standing, standing. And we'll let the awareness move up the body to feel your legs, feel the clothing touching the skin of your legs. And feel your fingers and hands. Feel the weight of the arms hanging from the shoulders. Feeling the clothing touching the skin. Feel your head balanced on top. Feel your eyes in the sockets. Keeping the eyes closed, just try to feel the outline of that standing body. Then begin some deep, slow breathing. After breathing in, hold the air in the lungs for 2 seconds, and slowly breathe out, developing this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Hold the breath. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, standing here and now. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now the next in-breath, raise the arms over the head, interlock the fingers, turn the palms up, straighten the arms, stretch the head back, stretch upwards. Release the fingers, the out breath, arms back to the sides. Feel the air going out as the arms come down. Again, in breath. Stretch up, bend back a little bit. Feel the arch in the spine. Feel the sensation. Out breath. Arms back to the sides, feel the air going out. Once more, in. Stretch up, bend back a little more, hold it a little longer. Out breath. Arms back to the sides, feel the air go out, close the eyes, just keep feeling the body, don't let the mind get carried away in thoughts. Just try to hold that outline of the body in the mind's eye. Just feel the increased body sensation. Remember the present moment of standing, standing. Now, the next in breath, lift up on the balls of the feet while raising the hands over the head in this way, facing the hands toward each other, stretch. Out breath, come back down, feel the air going out as the arms come down. Again, in breath, use the in breath to help lift up the body, stretch. out. Once more, in, stretch, out. Close the eyes, keep feeling the body. Feel the head on top, arms at the side, clothing touching the skin, feet pressing the floor. Hold that outline of the body and the mind's eye, feeling those increased sensations. Letting go of your thoughts. This body here and now. Feeling the activated life force sensation. So let your thoughts come and go in the back of the mind, keeping outline of the body in front of the awareness. Okay, next we'll do side bending. On the in-breath, raise both arms up and keep your fingers and arms straight, close to your head. On the out-breath, bend over the right side as far as you comfortably can. Keep the arms parallel to each other like railroad tracks. In-breath, lift up. Pause a moment. And out-breath, the other side. In-breath up. Again to the left, out-breath. In. Out. In. Once more to each side. The out breath, lower the arms. The air going out as the arms come down. Close the eyes. Feel the increased sensation. Clothing touching the outer skin. Life force sensations under the skin. Itchy, prickly sensation. Remember standing, standing. Next we'll do the squatting or knee bending. On the in-breath, you can lift up on the balls of the feet, raising the arms up front for balance. On the out-breath, bend the knees and lower down, balancing on the balls of the feet. Come down as far as you can. Take a deep breath to feel the muscles in the legs pushing the body up. Out. Out. The out breath, relax. to the increased heartbeat, by the pulsation, the activated life force, your deep breathing and movement. Getting that oxygenated blood out to all the remote cells and tissues of the body. Remember standing. You can now spread the legs apart, wider the better, just 3 feet. Holding the arms out at the sides, we'll do twisting from right to left. Breathe in. On the out breath, twist to the right, let your feet turn a little bit, keep your eyes focused on the hand going back. In breath, back to the front. Let your feet turn with the body, then the other side, out breath. In breath. Then to the right, out. In. Once more to each side. Back to the front, relax. Feel each foot pressing the floor. Hold that outline of the body and the mind's eye. And the clothing touching the outer skin. Life force sensations under the skin. Letting go of your thoughts. Present moment, body-centered awareness. Natural awareness. Okay, now hold the hands together at the chest. In breath, hands over the head. In the out breath, hands to the chest, bend the knees, lower down, and keep the back upright. Feel the stretch in the hips and knees. In breath, all the way up. Out breath, try to come down a little more. In. Out. Out breath arms to the side. So keep the legs spread apart. Wider the better. Go to the forward and backward bending. Let the hands touch the front of your legs. Breathe in. On the out breath, bend forward. Keep the head lifted up. Let the hands come to the kneecaps. Or flatten the spine. Legs straight, the arms straight. Making the back like a tabletop. So you can balance a full cup of tea without spilling. In breath, lift up. Move the hands under the buttocks for support. And on the out breath, let the head go back, bend backwards. Keep the eyes open, look at the ceiling. In breath, carefully lift up. And the second time, let the hands come down below the knees. Still keep the legs straight, head lifted up. Feel the extra stretch in the back of the legs. In breath, lift up. Again, the back bend, out breath, be careful. In breath, lift up. And the third time, let the hands come down as far as you can towards your ankles or feet. Then hold on there longer. Let the little bones in the lower spine stretch out. Feel all the sensations. And lift up. In breath. On the out breath, one more time, the back bend, just be careful. In breath up. On the out breath, just relax your shoulders and arms. Close the eyes, feel the whole body. Each foot pressing the floor. Hands touching sides of your legs. Clothing touching the skin. Any body movement. Head balanced on top. Eyes in the socket. Just this body exactly as it is, here and now. Present moment, body-centered awareness. Okay, now bring your legs back together. Okay, one last exercise, the head turning from right to left. On the in-breath, turn your head to the right. You have a stiff neck, just be careful. Look over your right shoulder. On the out-breath, turn the head all the way back to the left. Look over the left shoulder. In-breath, right. Out left. once more each direction. The in-breath, the head stop in the middle, keep the eyes closed. Feel the whole body vibrating, pulsating with activated life force. Billions, trillions of cells, molecules and atoms of the body vibrating, interacting. Try to feel that or imagine that. An awareness, energy. Okay. So now let's come back to our seats, get ready for the sitting. Just get comfortable in your sitting position. Just try to sit straight, aligning your spine and the back of your head in a straight line. Keep the chin lifted up, level with the floor. You feel the inward curve of the lower spine. Helps support the weight of the upper body. Just rest your attention on the eyes. Try to feel that outline of the sitting body. To hold that outline of the sitting body in the mind's eye. And begin taking some deep, slow breaths, holding the air in the lungs for 2 or 3 seconds. And slowly breathing out, feeling the last bit of air go out. Developing this mindfulness. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Hold the breath a couple of seconds. Breathing out, sitting here and now, feeling the last bit of air go out. Breathing in, feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. Now we're going to count the breaths from 1 to 10 to help develop a more continuous concentration on the breathing in the body. I'll do the counting for you. Just try to follow that with your breathing and counting. So with the next expanding in breath, mentally count to 1. Hold the breath a second. And with the contracting out breath, also count to 1. Feel the last bit of air go out. The next in breath, 2. Out breath, 2. In 3. Out 3. In 4. Out 4. In 5. Out 5. In 6. Out 6. In 7. Out 7. In 8. Out 8. In 9. out 9, in 10, out 10. As the breath goes out, don't try to control it any longer. Let there be a little pause. Just let the breath come back in under its own power without controlling it. But keep feeling it. Keep your attention focused in the center of the body. Feel the residual expanding and contracting sensation. As you try to feel where the clothing rubs against the skin of your stomach, rib cage, or chest. As it expands or contracts. Just following that with moment-to-moment attention. Just knowing when the breath is coming in. And knowing when the breath is going out. You know it by feeling it, feeling those subtle sensations. Just let your thoughts come and go in the back of the mind. Keep the breathing body in the front of the awareness. Try to be like a scientist looking down through a microscope, observing an experiment. Just observing this experiment of breathing. How this breathing keeps this body alive. Just try to tune in to the 4 phases of each breath cycle. Expanding in breath and the brief pause. The contracting out breath and the brief pause. Just over and over and over again. To help you stay focused, you can use these brief mental reminders. In sitting, out, sitting. The pauses between the breaths, feel the outline of the sitting body. Just feel the breathing going on within this larger sitting body. In sitting, out, sitting, breath by breath, moment by moment. If you still have lots of thoughts, you can combine this breathing with trying to count the breaths again from 1 to 10 by yourself. See if you can make it to 10 without my prompting. And be able to make it to 10 counts without the mind getting lost. Let go of any counting. So that attention on the outline of the body, just opening up to other sensations coming and going in and around through the breathing body. Breathing is still there in the middle, but around it you can feel sensations, clothing touching the skin, prickly sensations, contact points of the body, sensations from your feet, your hands, face. Try to notice how all those sensations are just constantly changing. The in-breath arises, vanishes. The out-breath arises, vanishes. Other sensations come and go. At the same time, being aware of any thoughts trying to sneak into the mind. The part of your attention alert to the body, part of the attention being aware of thoughts trying to sneak into the mind. The pauses between the breaths, checking the posture, keep the chin lifted up, maintain the inward curve of the lower spine. Keep turning up the power of the mental microscope to notice more and subtler detail, sensation. This breathing body. More physical sensations you can notice, less chance for the mind to get carried away in thought. In sitting, out, sitting, breath by breath, moment by moment, developing that insight into change and impermanence, all the changing sensations in the breathing and body. Thoughts changing. Maybe sounds coming and going. Sounds in your own house. Being aware of the mind's reaction to them. You can contemplate the five aggregates as they're constantly changing: material form, feeling, perception, thoughts. You catch the mind lost in thoughts, recognize it as lost. Take a deep, slow breath. Bring the mind back into the body. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, sitting here and now. Do some more deep, slow breathing to help stay awake, centered in the body. Breathing in, sitting. Breathing out, sitting. So many different sensations arising and vanishing. Thoughts coming and going. There's a good sense of that awareness, that detachment, start to become like an empty house with nobody at home to answer the call, knocking on the doors and windows. Be aware of any remaining sense of I or me in the consciousness. Just gently let that go, let that fade away. In that open awareness. With each out breath, letting it go. Sabbe sankhara anicchati yada panyaya pasati atanibindati dukhi isamago visuddhya. Nati janam panyacha panyanati ajaito yammi janancha panyacha siri nibbana santiki. all conditioned things, the five aggregates of this body, mind, and world are impermanent. They arise only to briefly last and then vanish. When one sees this with the eye of wisdom, one becomes disenchanted with suffering. This is the path to purity. And there's no meditation without wisdom, no wisdom without meditation. One who both meditates and is wise is close to peace and freedom. Thus spoke the Buddha. Now I invite you to join in chanting the word sadhu 3 times slowly. We do that chanting on a long out breath to feel those vibrations in the body and mind. So take a deep breath. Breathe. Breathe. Now place your hands at the edge of your knees. Take one more deep breath as you breathe in. Stretch your head back. Pull the hands against your knees to arch your spine. Let out the breath. On the in-breath, lift the head up, and on an out-breath, press the chin to the top of the chest. Stretch the neck vertebrae. Lift the chin up level on an in-breath. And relax on the out-breath. Put a smile on your face. Okay, friends. So I hope you're able to have some good mindfulness, concentration, and wisdom, maybe some insights into any of those insight knowledges. Everything gets connected. And maybe next week we'll have explore the topic of emptiness. See how that fits in with these things that we've been talking about. All right? So I may send out some links to some sutras on emptiness. Okay, so again, this holiday season, everything going on, be well, be safe, be mindful, be wise, do your M&Ms every hour if possible. Remember, mindfulness a day keeps dukkha away. All right? Namo Buddhaya.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante.
Namo Buddhaya Bhante.
Namo Buddhaya Bhante, Teruvan Saranai.
Everyone Saranai. May the triple
More,
gem.
more Dhamma, less drama.
Yes, that's what the world needs.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.